But I want to continue on my story. I met a young man that changed my life. He's a veteran. He was a nuclear engineer on submarines. Here was this guy, sharp, bright, 8 years in. He and his wife were moving to Groton, Connecticut because he was getting out of the Navy. But a program had come along, and it was from enlisted to admiral. It was started by Admiral John Borda, and it was taking the sharpest, brightest sailors we had and giving them a chance to get on an accelerated program and better themselves. He felt like within the enlisted ranks were some of the greatest talent we possibly could have. At the last day and the final hour, their truck was loaded. They were ready to move. Guess what happened? He was the 50th candidate, dropped out, and he was selected. Now, he was passed over, basically, but he showed up, and he went through the training for 6 months. And at the end of 6 months, he was the #1 graduate out of 250 officer candidates who were going through this program. He was #1 in the enlisted admiral program. Led the commencement and led the parade and spoke and was very eloquent. And then got on board, went to the War College, was #1 in engineering, #3 in academics, and has been an outstanding man. Now, he was motivated while on the USS Trenton. I don't know how many sailors we got in here. Any Navy guys? I've got a few. He was on the USS Trenton. It's a 600-foot ship, warship. It was amphibious, and he was one of the officers, and they got a message from the SEALs, and the SEALs said, we're going to carry out a maneuver. We're going to board your ship. We're going to carry out this maneuver. We're going to leave, and you're not going to know we were there. Well, you know what a challenge that is. You know all about it. Everybody's walking around saying, no, you're not going to get on. This ship must not know about it and do anything. But a few weeks later, they got a video of them being boarded and of a phenolic material helicopter being built on the deck, a very small one, and of these SEALs taking off from the deck of this ship. And that inspired him. He said, now that's incredible. He became a Navy SEAL commander of a boarding crew for the Navy SEALs, and recently left the SEALs and started working for my daughter. It's my son-in-law I'm talking about, Tommy Walker. But he was inspiring to me that he'd done what he'd done. He saw opportunity and had the ambition. So I'm telling you, these veterans have influenced my life, got me 2 grandsons now. My grandson's been offered to go to VMI and the Citadel. And so I'm excited about this continuing this tradition in our family. So I guess what we're saying here, we're looking for opportunities, ways to make things work, both for your businesses, for businesses, new businesses that are going to start up. And how do you do that? How do you make those things work that can work? And I believe it's a simple thing. It's a simple formula. In 1991 in Palm Springs, I met a gentleman, again, life-changing experience from a veteran. This man was a senior ranking military officer in Tehran when the Iranians took over our embassy. He was suspected of being CIA connected. They put him in solitary for 153 days and tortured him. They would interview him, interrogate him for 40 hours at a time. He had him babbling. They had him totally intimidated, keep him in that solitary confinement, and to bash him every day emotionally. They'd walk down the hallway, and they'd take his mail and right in front of him destroy his mail. And he told our group, he said, when I would hear them walking down the hall with this mail crew, he said, I'd start to weep. They got to me. Now, he's in solitary confinement. He does have control over that little space he's in. And he said he realized that if he didn't do something about his situation, that he would be going through therapy maybe the rest of his life. He had to do something and make some sort of a move, and here's what he decided to do. Make a list of goals, physical things that he could do in that room, and he put on the top of the list 1,000 push-ups a day. Now, I don't know how many you can get right now. I don't want to challenge anybody because I've had a little shoulder surgery, but 1,000 would be over my limit, maybe 10 would. But he put on his list, stand on his head. He saw kids at the beach standing on their head, walk on his hands, a whole list of physical things to do to give him some distraction and help him keep his sanity. He said he learned we have 5 dimensions we have control of in our lives: physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and behavioral. And if he didn't compensate with this physical side, he was going to be really damaged. Now he said he taught the guard. Once he got doing these push-ups, in 6 weeks, by the way, he could do 1,000 a day. He could walk on his hands immediately. He could stand on his head. But in 6 weeks, he was doing 1,000 push-ups a day. His upper chest built up powerfully. And when it did, his confidence grew. And he started communicating with the guards and talk. They were so poorly trained, they allowed him to go into the library and check out some books. He got German 1, 2, 3, and 4. That was his heritage, Colonel Tom Schaefer. And then a copy of the Bible. Goes back to his solitary. And he said the guards were so poorly trained, the greatest fear they had was being shot accidentally. They would blindfold them, march them around the compound, and fire rounds into the ceiling. And he said they were afraid they were going to get hit by a ricochet bullet. That's how poorly trained the guards were. They hadn't gone out to a firing range and learned how to shoot the weapons. But there he was. He read the Bible 7 times. He learned how to speak German fluently in less than 6 months. He said nobody there could understand him, but he was fluent. And he went on to say that he was thankful for having had this experience, because it was the first time in his life where he had to reach down within inside himself and bring out the very best that he had. That was the kind of challenge that he was facing. So it was an opportunity that he saw. Setting goals that pulled him out of this terrible situation and helped him survive this ordeal. By the way, he goes on in wrapping up his story and talks about the fact that he won the gold and silver in the Olympics, Senior Olympics in Canada, within 3 years after he'd gotten released. And so my point about this is we set the goals. It's really simple. It's a vision you have. It's a mission that's established on how you're going to reach this vision. It's the idea that you have goals and objectives to accomplish, that you have a strategy, a plan, and methodology to achieve this. And those are all learnable things. Everything that you need to learn can be taught, and most of them by people in this room and people that you'll meet in the 2 days that you're here. They can teach you these things. We got some great teachers here. So here's the opportunity, and here's the chance to do what we can do. We're here at an event where you can network, you can hand out business cards, you can be in touch. This meeting materialized for me on the Friday the 13th. I went and met a young Marine who started the New Patriot, Darrell Hill. It's a website where you can go on and interact with other veterans, and it's a phenomenal success because there's a brotherhood here. If somebody there asks for help, he gets tremendous, overwhelming responses. The New Patriot, Darrell Hill, he's on the agenda, I believe. And one thing that you want to be sure to do is support those things I know you do, that you see like that. But what materialized, the president of the company that I work with, Open Government TV, Keith Moore is our president, had invited me to sit in on the meeting with Darrell Hill for planning of this event that we're at. And because of that, he was asking questions, what was going to happen here and how many were going to attend. And as you can see, we've got a small attendance, but a significant group. And that we have this opportunity now that there are thousands, there's 2.5 million veterans we're dealing with, I think, in this country. By the way, I think a survey recently showed where 25% of them, which works out to be over 600,000 of them, are interested in free enterprise and in the opportunities that are available through the programs that you have. So we're in a great position here. Open Government TV is an opportunity for you to take a small business, make a commercial, and go out and compete with the big guys. 80% of the government contracts go to 20% of the contractors. It's just the way it works. 20% go to 80%. So the small contractor has to be able to tell their story better than ever. We have a chance to tell our story and have the image of what we do and who we do it for commercialized on a website that's accessible to all the people in procurement within all the government agencies. That's what Open Government TV is about. This webcast is going on because of a company called OVS. Keith Moore picked up the phone. He called OVS. He said, hey, what would it take for us to broadcast this program internationally so that every person in this country who's a veteran will have access to see this program? And they made a deal, and we're here, and we're doing exactly that. This program will be accessible and available to all veterans at no cost to them. You were able to come here, you had the wherewithal and the means to make it here, but there are thousands and thousands who couldn't, who need to hear what you're going to hear from Gloria and the different trainers that are in here to teach you about business and how to make it successful. What a great opportunity. What a great opportunity. We're sitting in the catbird seat for doing that.